What's up guys, welcome to Seafood Kitchen Barbecue. This week we're going to be putting some pork shoulder on the smoker, hopefully have some nice tender pulled pork for lunch tomorrow. We've had our pork brining for about 12 hours now, and let's show you that process real quick. Alright, we're going to get started here. We've got 2 tablespoons each of brown sugar and white sugar. I'll follow that up with a tablespoon of kosher salt. Behind that we have a tablespoon of paprika. And we're going to come in with a teaspoon each of ground black pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. We'll go ahead and get this mixed into 4 cups of apple juice. This brine here is going to be good for pork shoulder between 4 and 8 pounds. So what we're going to do once we get this mixed in is cover it up over the meat. So let's take a look at our pork shoulder here. This is about 5.5 pound pork shoulder. Got a really good color to it. Lots of intermuscular fat. Didn't need a whole lot of trimming here. It's got a good healthy fat cap. We didn't trim anything off of that. We want to make sure we've got a nice heat barrier. And this bone here, we're going to be careful of that we're not going to poke any holes in our foil down the road. We also want to make sure when you're trimming it that it has a nice even consistency, nice width to it. This is going to help the meat cook a lot more evenly, take up that smoke at a more even rate. So let's get this swimming in our bath. We're going to cover this over with equal parts water and apple juice, as much as it takes to cover the meat. And we'll move that around, make sure the spices are getting well incorporated. And we'll wrap this and fridge this for 12 hours up to overnight. Alright, now that we have the pork and the brine, we're going to go ahead and start the fire in the pit today. We're smoking with cherry wood chunks and some apple chips thrown in. Should give us a really nice deep flavor and a good color on that smoke ring. Let's get this started and see how it turns out for lunch tomorrow. Now that we got a nice bed of coals back in the back of the firebox, we're going to go ahead and preheat our chunks towards the front of the firebox. This will help with cooking later. Alright, now that we have our brined pork out of the fridge, let's go ahead and get this out of its coffin, get it ready for rubbing. We'll get a nice bed of paper towels down to soak up any of that excess brine. Try and shake off as much of that liquid as we can and pat it dry. That is a healthy piece of meat. So we're going to take our favorite rub of your choice. Today we're using Bad Byron's butt rub. It's pretty widely available and it is my go-to for smoking pork. Gonna make sure every inch is covered, including any little cracks and crevices. Use the meat to wipe up all the rub off the rest of the board. This is going straight to the smoker. We're gonna get this put as far away from the firebox as we can and get our meat thermometer set in the center of that meat. Get a good accurate reading. Alright, now that we have a nice bed of coals, we're going to go ahead and get these chunks back on the fire. Preheating these helps prevent that acrid white smoke, putting nasty flavors into the meat. We're going to go ahead and refill this every time we put some fresh wood on, so we always have a constant supply of wood ready to go. Alright, meat's on. It's about 11:14. We've got a good temperature going, about 250. Meat's still nice and cold, 48 degrees, and we got the smoke rolling. We'll make sure this stays nice and warm. Alright, it's 11:44. Been about a half hour. We're gonna go ahead and get started with mopping and basting this meat. I've got a cup each of apple juice and apple cider vinegar. We're gonna make sure the meat is completely soaked so it absorbs all that liquid as we're smoking. Alright, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. Our temperature's coming down to 225. We want to start getting our coals ready. The meat's looking nice and tender, forming a nice bark. That mop is really helping. We'll be mopping every half hour or so. Alright, now that we've got another charcoal chimney ready to light up, most of us don't have newsprint around anymore, but these charcoal bags make excellent starters. Just keep away from that outer plastic layer. It'll put off some really bad flavors and get that into the charcoal. So we'll rip out this inner layer, ball it up, and get some oil on it. That's a perfect thing for starting your charcoal chimney. Alright, good morning guys. It's 10:30 in the morning. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on the smoker here. Meat's come up past the plateau, so we can get ready to wrap this. It's got a nice tough bark on it, taking on a lot of good color. So we're at about 172 degrees. We're going to take this off and get this ready to wrap up and finish the cooking process. We'll throw these last couple wood chunks on. That'll be the last smoke we're going to put on this fire until the meat's done. Once we wrap it, it won't be bringing in any more smoke. Alright, bring this off the smoker. Look how juicy this thing is. Those mops really did wonders for it every 45 minutes or so. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap this up in 2 heavy-duty layers of aluminum foil. But before we close up this first layer, we're going to go ahead and add about a half cup of apple juice. That'll act as a braising liquid and steam that meat inside the foil. We're going to wrap this up as tightly as possible so that we don't lose all that beautiful bark we worked so hard to put on the outside. We got that nice and sealed up. Let's throw this back on the smoker and we can kick the temperature up to finish cooking. Alright, we're going to get started on the sauce. It's a vinegar-based sauce, so we'll go ahead and start with a cup of apple cider vinegar. We'll follow that up with a half cup of Crystal Louisiana hot sauce. Come behind that with a 1/4 cup of Tabasco. Got another 1/4 cup here of white granulated sugar. And about a tablespoon each of kosher salt and black pepper. We're going to assemble this right on the firebox of the smoker. It's got a good amount of heat coming off of it, but we don't want to bring this to a boil, so we're going to bring it up nice and slowly. We just put a fresh bed of coals on, so that heat's going to last for a while. Make sure you give that a good stir every 15 minutes or so until it comes up to temperature. Once your sauce is nice and hot, we're going to go ahead and cool it right back down in an ice bath. We'll pour that into a squirt bottle of your choice. Make it easier for application later. Alright, to go with our pork, we're going to make a real quick and dirty coleslaw. Got some fingerling carrots here. I'm just going to dice those up nice and small. I've got a couple hearts of romaine here. I'm just going to slice that up, shred it. We want about equal portions of each. I'm going to get a mason jar out, load that up with about a half cup of mayonnaise, and add some dill pickle juice in the bottom. That'll make our slaw brine. Get everything into this mason jar and give it a good shake to get everything incorporated. Follow that up with some fresh cracked black pepper and some kosher salt. And this will be the perfect pairing to go with that pulled pork later on. Alright, our pork's finally hit 205 internal. I'm going to pull this off the smoker and unwrap it. Take a look at what we've been working so hard to get. Look at that. That bone should pull right away from the meat. That's a clear sign that we had the right internal temperature. And all that cooking went to good use. Just falls apart in your hand. Look at that. Now that we've got our pork into this container, we're going to go ahead and pour off all the liquid inside that tin foil, all that braising liquid. As we shred this, we're going to go ahead and reincorporate all of that liquid, and the meat's going to soak it all up. And once you've got it down to the shredded consistency you like, we're going to pull it back to one side of the pan and tilt the pan up on edge. You shouldn't see anything running down. The meat should have soaked everything back up. If you do have liquid at the bottom of that pan, go ahead and keep pulling and keep working that meat. It will soak it back up. Now that our meat's all shredded, we're going to go ahead and put some of that sauce over the meat, help it soak up even more. We're going to push this all into one layer at the bottom of our pan, and we're going to take a sheet of tin foil and press it all the way down on top of the meat, and then cover the entire container with another sheet of tin foil until it's time to eat. Alright, we're going to be enjoying this pulled pork on some King's Hawaiian rolls today. I'm going to cut a couple of these in half and make some sliders. We're going to get some sauce down on the top and bottom halves, lay a nice healthy mound of pork down, and a couple of dill chips to go along with it, and another bath of sauce. Get these cut up and ready to eat. There you go. That's how we do pulled pork around here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. The recipe will be in the description below. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave us a thumbs up. We'll see you guys next time on Seafood Kitchen Barbecue.